What's up, people? I wanted to make a video just talking about, getting back to some of the funny topics, talking about some of the most embarrassing times that I had in the organization. Me personally, embarrassing things that happened to me. So some of them are kind of minor. I'm just going to talk about like five of them, five quick ones. So one of them was like, so the brothers used to rent these gyms, right, to play basketball in. And like, so all brothers from all these different congregations would come. Sometimes sisters would come and sit there and watch, you know what I mean? But normally it was just brothers in there, playing ball, playing basketball. We would rent it out for normally like 2 or 3 hours or something. But I used to come in, I used to be hitting them. Not that I was super, super sweet, but most Jehovah's Witness brothers are just really bad at basketball, you know what I mean? So I grew up like in a neighborhood where you had to be able to play basketball. You had to be able to box. You had to be able to play basketball, and that's two things you had to be able to do. You know what I mean? So I was out there hitting them, crossing them up. They falling down and stuff. Just middle-aged brothers who only play basketball here. At this special night that they would rent it. But there was one particular night I was coming down. I hit like 3 3-pointers in a row. I was hitting them, and I was killing them. They couldn't really stop me because they were terrible. Very terrible. But a loose ball like fell onto the floor and like rolled across the court. I still remember it like in slow motion. I dove down. I got a scar from it too. You really can't see, but right here on my finger. But I dove towards the ball and to grab it and save it from going to half court. And this big guy, he was probably 280, 290 pounds or something. He just came like running. It was like slow motion. It was like boom, boom, boom. And then he just he was trying to dive, but he just dropped straight to his knees right in my hand. And matter of fact, just right on my pinky finger. And it just busted. Like, I had never seen nothing like that happen. I've seen fingers break, but it just busted, like blood just splattered. And right when he landed on my finger, and I don't really cuss like that, even back then I didn't, but I just yelled out, shit, you know what I mean? Like super loud. The game just stopped. I'm laying there, my finger, there's blood everywhere. I'm like, oh. He was more shocked that I yelled shit than he was that my finger was bleeding all over the place, you know what I mean? And everybody on the sideline, because when we rented these, there'd be like 2 teams on the court, but there'd be other teams waiting to get on the court. So everybody on the sidelines just like, and they all just staring at me, man. And I done yelled out a cuss word in the middle of the Jehovah's Witness basketball league, you know what I mean? I felt terrible, but my hand was bleeding, so I couldn't even really apologize or nothing. I just like, oh man, I went to the bathroom. one of the guys came with me to check on me, and man, when I got to the bathroom and cleaned the blood up a little bit, it was clear I needed stitches. I had to go to the emergency room. I think I had to get like 6 or 7 stitches in my finger, and I was just embarrassing for me. No one really said anything to me about it after that, but it was just embarrassing. You don't want to be in that position, especially with everyone sitting there looking at you. You know what I mean? So that was real embarrassing for me. Another time, I was in a grocery store, and they got the magazine racks. So I was walking along, didn't even mean, like I was looking for a football magazine or something, but I see this magazine. It just caught my attention. I don't even think this magazine's out anymore, but it was called Black Men's Magazine. And so on the cover, it wasn't like naked people, but they would be like in bathing suits or, posing in some sexy pose. And it was some model. I think it was like Melissa Ford or somebody. And I was just walking by and I just looked like, whoa. You know what I mean? And I just stopped and I looked around like, man, I'm about to look in. I'm not going to buy it, but I'm going to look in it a little bit. So I started turning through the pages, and page after page after page was like beautiful woman, you know what I mean? So I'm sitting there looking, and I had like the magazine in front of me, and then I just feel like someone in front of me. You know what I mean? I didn't really know who it was, but I kind of lowered the magazine down to look at him. It was an elder's wife just standing right in front of me, and she's just looking right at me, and I'm just like, you know, I didn't even know what to say. I think I started blinking real fast, like, you know, I didn't even know what to say. I just looked at her like, oh, and I put it down, but it's like, you already saw me, you know, looking at the magazine. What can I say? You already caught me. Luckily, she must not have went back and said nothing, because I didn't get like talked to or anything about that. But it was still embarrassing, because she was a fairly young sister. You know, he was a little bit older. He was probably like 8 to 10 years older than her. She was fairly young. She was probably only about 5, 6 years older than me. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of embarrassing. I knew her family. Her family knew my family. It was just kind of embarrassing, man, to get caught looking at the magazine. Another one that was kind of funny. So my cousin used to come with me to the conventions. I did a video about the food, the convention food, and how good it was. But he used to come back when it was free, just because he loved coming to get the convention food. I mean, he acted like he wanted to study and stuff, but, you know, he used to come with me mainly for the food. But the first convention he went to with me, you know, I had explained the prayers and all that to him, but he didn't really, I guess he didn't pay attention, and he didn't know what was going on. So we sit down, we're at this big convention center, but they got like the metal steps, you know what I mean, that pull out, the bleacher type steps. And like every time you walking on it, you can hear like, you know, clang, clang, clang. You can hear people walking up the steps. And so I think I may have spoken about this on another video, but we were in the middle of a prayer. So we had sung the song, and the brother was on the stage giving a prayer. And I just hear, like, I saw him at first, you know, because, you know, my eyes supposed to be closed, but I looked out, saw him, like, walking on the concrete part before he got to the steps. And I'm just like, oh, no, like, we're in the middle of a prayer. What is he doing? And the ushers was, like, right there, and, like one of them, like, was trying to walk after him. I guess they're not even called ushers, right, at the convention. I don't know what they're called, but you know what I mean. The brothers who would stand down at the bottom, like, watching over stuff. But, like, they didn't stop him, like, and he got to the steps, and then every step like echoed, like clang, 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 and we were at the top. We were sitting at the top, and he had to walk up like multiple, I don't know how many steps, 50 steps or something it was, to get up to where we were. Everyone's like looking, like it was so loud. The convention wasn't it was probably only like a 6,000 seat arena or something like that. It wasn't like one of the real big ones that I've been to in giant football stadiums. It was a smaller one. And he came, got all the way up to the top, like, what's up? And was right there sitting with me, man. So everyone looked, and I was just so embarrassed, you know, trying to hide my little badge so they didn't see what congregation I was from. That was embarrassing, man. Another one was there was this sister at the hall. She was probably, I was 19 probably. She was 18. I think she was a year. No, she was 19 also. She was the same age. But I knew that like all the elders and stuff would like talk down about her, like talking about she was living loose and this and that. They would see her at the park, you know, talking to worldly guys, you know, doing this and that, looking like she's drinking different stuff. So, matter of fact, was she baptized? I don't even know if she was baptized. But I was. But I'd heard him say all this stuff about her. And then me and her got cool though, you know, and I'm like, I don't really care, you know, what she out there doing. She was a cool person, but she was also very, very, very attractive. You know what I mean? So she eventually she was like, hey, come over to my house, kick it, you know, and you know, we can, my mom's gone, you know, at work all day or whatever. So I went over there, we just chilled pretty much the whole day. You know, we watched some TV, we ate some food or whatever. And then she lived in these apartments, and there's a sister from the congregation that lived in the apartments like across the walkway from her. So I parked actually in the other parking lot and walked around because I didn't want that sister to see me. But when I came out the apartments, that sister and two elders were standing right there, like not in front of her place, but in front of the other sister's place. I don't know what they were doing, if they were there for a shepherding call or to help her. I don't know what they were doing, but all three of them just turned around and looked right at me as I walked out the door. And she was already known as like having a reputation for being like loose and wild, and really her reputation, she wasn't really like that, but they just saw her like that. She was a real cool person. But I was super embarrassed, man, because it's like, what can I even say? I just kind of waved at him, said, hey, how y'all doing? I think one of the two elders called me later that evening at home and said, hey, what were you doing over there? But, throughout the day as I left, I already had a plan what I was going to say, because she put together the little baggies. So how little people would hang the little baggies, at least, where I'm from. Like on people's mailbox, they'd have all the advertisements and all that in it. So she actually did that. She had like a route where she would do that and go put those on people's doors. So like they would deliver like all these different advertisements to her, and she would have to stuff them. So she actually had some of that sitting there on her floor when I was over there chilling with her. So I just said, hey, she needed some help. Like she was behind on bagging up these advertisement things. I just went over to help. It was purely innocent. It was nothing like that, taking place at all. So I don't know if he bought it or not, but, they didn't approach me again about it. So, it was what it was. My fifth embarrassing thing, me and my homeboy, I'm just gonna call him Tommy, because he may not want people knowing, about this, and I know he knows about the videos. So, we used to travel all over. Like we would meet people at conventions and assemblies. We would go like from Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Detroit, Indianapolis, Louisville, West Virginia, Virginia. I mean, we would be all over the place, going with witnesses, going out and talking to girls that we knew from these different areas, going to visit them, staying in a hotel or whatever. They didn't stay in a hotel with us. Me and him would stay in a hotel, we'd go to their meetings or whatever. We would just be on the go. But in this particular time, we went down to Cincinnati. And so we were in Cincinnati, and we were meeting up with this girl and her cousin. So the girl was from our city, but she had moved to Cincinnati with her cousin. They were all witnesses. All of them were witnesses. The girl she moved with was an elder, or her dad was an elder, I mean. And so we went down there. And then it was them two, so her cousin, and then these two twins. So the two twins, their father was the presiding overseer of the city, of the city. And they were real cute girls. All four of the girls were real pretty girls, but they were riding around with us. The first problem is we went to their house for dinner, to the twins' house for dinner, and my boy just get up. Like the girls had, after they ate, the girls had got up and they had went down into the basement. And so it was just like these elders sitting there with me and him. And you know how those conversations go. They start asking you questions. So what are your spiritual goals? And how much time do you put into field service? Like, what is this? What is that? Do you plan to go to Bethel? And all those types of questions. Man, my dude just got up in the middle of that and started walking towards the basement door where the girls were at. And everybody just looked at him like, what is he doing? He got to the door, he started to open the door, and the presiding overseer brother was like, yo, where you going? And he said, out of all the things, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I couldn't just yell at him like, bro, sit down. What you doing? But I'm just like, man, please, man, dude, why are you doing this? But he was like, I'm going to find the girls. He said it just like that. I'm going to find the girls. And he was like, the girls will be back up here, man. Why don't you just relax a little bit? Come sit back down with us. Then he came and sat back down. It was super awkward the rest of the time. We ended up leaving. and then we was gonna go somewhere. We was gonna go to a movie or something, like all of us together. So me, my boy, the two twins, the girl we knew, and her cousin. And at that point, I was kind of like trying to talk to her cousin. So I had a Pontiac Grand Am back then. Back then, that was like my favorite car. Now I always drive Dodge Chargers. When I get rid of one, I got to get another Charger. I just like Chargers now. But back then, I loved Pontiac Grand Ams for some reason. I just like how they looked. But it was me and him in the front, and we got all four of them in the back. So they were all four in the back seat. And we're driving like to the movie theater. I'm driving to the movie theater, and then I just hear, "Oh my God!" And then all four of them just start giggling and laughing as hard as they can. And they're like, "Oh goodness." I don't know what was going on. I'm looking at my dude like, what's going on back there? He was like, "I don't know." He had his backpack, that we had brought from me and him to stay at the hotel. He had his backpack in the back seat. In the backpack, they had found a magazine. I still remember the name of the magazine, because I had never heard of it before until that day, but I'll never forget it. It was called Swank. I think it was SWANK. And it was not a very pure magazine, to put it politely. It was a nasty magazine, fully naked, people just busting it open, and very graphic pictures. And they found it in his backpack in the back seat. And then to make things worse, when I finally, because I didn't know what they was giggling at, they didn't want to tell me. They're just going crazy in the back seat. I finally pull over, and I'm like, "Y'all got to show me what's going on, man. Like, I don't know what's going on." And then finally the girl who we knew, from our city, she showed me. She's like, "Why do y'all have this in the car with y'all?" Man, to make it worse, my dude said, "That ain't mine. It's not yours. I'm the only other person here, so if it's not yours, you're saying it's mine?" Like, I got heated. I was like, I was about to fight this dude. Like, "Man, you better tell him it's yours, man." Like, it was all jokes aside. Like, "Man, stop playing. Tell him it's yours, man." He was just in pure denial mode. Like, "It ain't mine. I don't know where that came from." I'm like, "Bro, tell him it's yours, man." Like, I was heated, because I'm like, "Man, you shouldn't even have it, first of all. Second, if you was going to have it, why don't you throw it in the trunk or something? You know they're going to be in the back seat. Why you got it in your backpack, and your backpack's open in the back seat? You know what I mean? And then you should have told me something." But at the end of the day, if you caught, and if they found it and you just caught, then you got to just claim that, man. You can't say he didn't say it's mine, but he said it wasn't his. So basically you saying it's mine. Man, we was heated, man. I was heated. Like, I started yelling at dude, like, "Look, man, you can walk back to the crib. You can walk back to the city, man. You better tell him that this is your magazine." Dude still wouldn't admit it, man. So I was mad at him. I put him out the car at one point, man, because I was just heated. Like, man, just the whole situation. They still laughing and giggling. Like, the whole tone of everything changed, man. The whole tone of everything changed. But that was super embarrassing. At the end of the day, I did end up like letting him get back in the car. But I mean, I was mad at him for like a good week about that, man. Maybe 2 weeks. Finally, he did tell him, like, later on the phone. He called the girl we knew, and her cousin was like, "Yeah, that was my magazine." Because I told him, "Look, man, you got to make that right, man, because you got me looking crazy." And I don't know why it touched such a nerve with me, but I was like, man, they're clowning. Like, when everybody just sitting around clowning somebody, they was just clowning so loud and over and over again. I'm like, man, you got to just tell them it's yours, man. I didn't know nothing about it, and I really didn't. But man, that Swank magazine got us, man. That's some of my most embarrassing personal stories, back when I was there's a lot more, but that's just 5 that come to mind, off the top of my head. But leave a comment if you have some embarrassing moments, in the congregation. That's just some of mine. But y'all have a good day. I tried to keep it under 20 minutes, man. I know that's still long, but I'm trying. I'm getting better.